prodigious height, slight build with a supernatural talent for shooting. Did the arrival of this helper never give you pause for thought? Allow me to make myself clear. To refuse Yurliet's help in our circumstances would have been incredibly rash. Yes, mutants are creatures abhorrent to the Emperor and they should be exterminated, but sometimes humanity makes exceptions for those who can serve the Imperium. I'm not concerned that your aide is a mutant. I'm far more concerned that she may be nothing of the sort. Heinrichs turns to you. Muck von Luck, I would like to meet this helper of Governor Viat's without delay, out of professional interest. If you wish to speak to Yurliet, you'll find her outside in the orangery. Most likely by the gazebo. Orangery? She prefers to keep her distance from others. Footfall Station is on the verge of starvation. Can Janus supply the people with provisions? Yes and no, your lordship. If the question is, can such an expansive and fertile world as this one feed a few thousand void rats? Of course it can. We lose more provisions to gnawing pests every cycle than those on Footfall could eat in their entire lives. But, can we ship said provisions to Footfall? Not a chance. Any cargo shuttle that leaves the surface will be targeted for attack. The rebels will not hesitate to bring it down, sending flaming debris over the capital. Our silos could become targets for sabotage, food could be poisoned or mined. The logistics of transporting supplies to Footfall will only be possible once the uprising has been crushed. What is happening on this planet? Several months ago, uprisings broke out on Janus. I was not even notified at first. Gripping worms are for wardens to worry about. Alas, I only learned of what was happening after the miscreants began targeting noble families. Vistenza shakes her head, and then it became apparent that what the Administratum's account had referred to as unrest were in fact organized attacks on infrastructure and society leaders. They have already brought 13 agri-complexes to a halt and have now moved on to assassination attempts. My wardens are doggedly tracking down the rebels, but their leaders are slipping from our grasp yet again. Can Janus fulfill its foodstuff supplies under current conditions? I risk angering you, your lordship, but this is nothing compared to shamelessly deceiving you. Let us consider the situation dispassionately. Even the most talented logistics experts of the Administratum are unable to guarantee stable ties when shuttles are wary of landing at the spaceport, and the terrified peasants are indulging in a dangerous minority with their ranks. Until the usual order of things is restored on Janus, any trade is nigh impossible. Considering what has occurred, your visit is a true blessing. You see, Janus does not have its own fleet. We could organize a planet-wide search if we had ships at our disposal, ships like yours, your lordship. Perhaps you will find a way to support your subjects in their hour of need. I'm sure even approximate coordinates would be sufficient to have the ground forces and ship's crew work together to hunt down the enemy. I will get to the bottom of this. I'm sure the rebels will have something to say to the master of their world. She inclines her head. I'm immeasurably grateful for your assistance, your lordship. If any of those who attacked the estate has survived, then perhaps they could have been a valuable source of information. But you made an example of them for the rest of the foolish rabble. She glances at the Vox. Incidentally, I did overhear the wardens talking about some kind of stranger in the area. Besides that, we still do not know who let those reprobates into the estate. The person who did it might also know something. I, as well as my retinue, are at your service. My secretary is checking the staff as we speak and removing all traces of the attack from the estate. An esteemed Magos who is responsible for our agronomic efforts on the planet is also there. He happened to be visiting this week to deliver his personal report, and of course there is my aide in the war against the rebels, Yurliet. I have no doubt she will be delighted to share her knowledge of Janus with your lordship. Nod toward her companion. Who is this person standing next? Oh, who is this person standing next to you? One of my ladies in waiting, Amelia. I'm immediately reminded of Star Wars Episode 1 and wondering if that's the actual governor and this is a fake. Amelia performs secretarial duties and helps me to remain in constant contact with those families who are most responsible for the productivity and prosperity of Janus. I trust my advisors implicitly, and over time Amelia has become not merely a faithful companion, but almost my shadow. Losing her would be like losing my right hand. Vistenza laughs and gives Amelia an encouraging nod. Amelia did it. She did the crime. Amelia drops it to a low curtsy. To bathe in the light of your greatness is a true honor, rogue trader. Tell me about Janus. Vistenza leans forward. Janus is a remarkable world, both in terms of its vast potential and in terms of the work that was carried out to transform it into an agri-world. House Viet has ruled on Janus for many generations, and each new governor has without fail contributed to the planet's taming. This world was once a wild planet, full of xenobeasts and utterly unsuitable to growing anything. To this day, despite our best efforts, Janus regularly rebels against us. Earthquakes, tsunamis, the emergence of new pests and weeds that invade the arable land. Sometimes I cannot help but think that this world is endowed with a consciousness of a capricious and stubborn child who likes to spoil everything we've achieved. What do you grow on Janus? Mainly helican flint corn and red turnip. Apart from that, in the southern hemisphere, we have set aside vast tracts of land for the Grox population. And of course, I cannot fail to mention the several thousand acres of tilled land given over to cultivating fermentable fruit for personal use and limited export. I'm leaving.
They will see.
I spoke to Mistress Tolleman recently. Don't you think you're taking advantage of the Lord Captain's hospitality, Van Karos?
I assume you're referring to the small request I submitted to Vigdis. If so, then no. I'm not taking advantage. The matter is closed.
Alright, so a couple things here.
What lies beyond?
State Warden. Alright, so that's all done. If I can, I want to visit the ship real quick to see if I can get all the injuries cured.
The sacred exterminatus. I saw it for the first time in all its fiery majesty.
An awesome sight to behold. Like a giant brush wiping all the colors of the world from the canvas of reality.
Oh my god.
History of a world. I am the rogue thread.
A decorative spire hastily turned into a watchtower is a sure sign of a turbulent situation on the agri-world.
Patience! My nerves are frayed!
The cheerfully burbling water gives off a pleasant chill. Where is my ship? Oh. I think this is it here.
Curiosity sings in my veins.
Alright, so I'm going to return to the ship for a moment. And that'll cure all the injuries, and then I'll come back. Alright, so let's have quick save.
There will be
Now everybody
no
is
peace
fixed
in
up.
my wake.
Attilius Quint. The stooped man wearing a cloak of Adeptus Administratum is reviewing information on a data slate while his quietly whirring mechanical arms fill a long scroll with writing. Upon noticing you, the man stretches his thin lips into a smile and deferentially bows. The light in his eyes of the servo skull hovering over his right shoulder gently pulsate. Your lordship, what an honor to address you in person. Allow me to introduce myself. Attilius Quint, Prefectus of the Officio Agricultae. I will preserve the record of our conversation forever. What do you think of Vistenza Viat? The governor is a superb leader. She possesses an excellent grasp of all matters and never uses an incorrect form for a given situation. I do not pry into her personal affairs, but if I may speak plainly, a lady who fills out paperwork with such finesse cannot be a bad person in my view. What do you have to say about her helper, Yerlet? To be honest, your lordship, I find her presence most distressing. Of course, I would never gainsay the wisdom of the Emperor. What if, not she could perceive the true worth of a person, even if that person is a mutant? Moreover, Yerliet's particular abilities could be an interesting subject of study for the Mangos biologists. That elongated head shape, those eyes, judging by the skull that was given to me to send on footfall, such development anomalies on Janus are not a quirk of nature, but some kind of inheritable trait. What skull are you talking about? A most remarkable item, I must say. A true anomaly. One moment. He rummages in a nearby container and draws out a parcel, which he immediately unwraps. Here it is. I believe the finished piece was intended to be given as a gift to the governor, but under the current circumstances, I doubt I will be able to send it to Footfall anytime soon. Pascal's mechadendrites reach toward Attilius with interest, seeming to unnerve him a little. Adequately preserved. It is a pity that it is empty inside. It could have become a proper servo skull herald for the rogue trader. Unorthodox. A curiosity like this would look very nice on my desk. Eh? I mean, of course, undoubtedly. Whatever you wish, your lordship, if that will raise your spirits after the recent incident. Item received strange skull. Tell me about Janus. What is happening on this planet? Alas, your lordship, rebellions have caused us too many problems in recent times. The rebels are interfering with established processes, interrupting supplies, sabotaging the serfs' work. A few nobles have been killed, and worst of all, some of the victims occupied important administrative posts. Until their replacements pass their checks, complete all their induction forms, and go through the official appointment procedure, important paperwork is going unsigned. It's a bureaucratic catastrophe. The absence of a required signature, of course, the most horrifying thing about the situation. Indeed it is! Financial reports, logistics directives, waybills for food shipments. Without the signature of the most respected and now deceased head of House Zakaris, shipments to settlements of Aegis 24 have stopped. The heirs are still dealing with the transfer of holdings, and incoming reports tell us that a quarter of all the workings of the affected settlements have already died of starvation, while those of the remaining have left the perimeter and have not yet returned to their designated places. If things continue in this vein, I dare not even imagine what it could lead to. There are worlds ravaged by war for generations. Generations, your lordship. Like that deranged planet by the nameless star, so close to our own peaceful system. Peaceful system. We just got shot at. The inhabitants there supposedly live under the patronage of Rogue Trader Winterscale. I shudder to think what he's created there. Who is directing the rebels? Does anyone know? The rebels are well armed and well trained. What's more, the governor's advisors are inclined to think that the instigators of the rebellions are very familiar with the planet's terrain and climate. My ordnance are going through registration records day and night looking for individuals who have completed military training, but we have so far been unable to identify the scoundrel. I want details. Where have the rebels struck and how? Of course. I would be delighted to furnish you with all the information I have. In the last few months, 15 organized attacks and 7 terrorist attacks have been perpetrated. Irrigation equipment has been sabotaged in Agrarian Sectors 325, Transport Routes 27, 413, and also... I suppose this will not tell you much. Please. With a fussy gesture, he presses several buttons on his data slate screen, and a 3-dimensional map with coordinates of the attacks appears on your cogitator. Logic test failed. The data is superbly collated, and the diagram clearly reflects the actions of the rebels. Unfortunately, no matter how hard you stare at the coordinates, you cannot discern any logic to the attacks. No. Dang. What are you doing to combat the... What are you doing to combat the rebels? Our security services are tracking those who support the rebels, and our regular wardens are wiping out those saboteurs without the slightest mercy. But they keep on appearing. My scribes have been run off their feet, keeping records of all of the public hearings and executions, but I am confident that the governor will find a solution soon. What do you know about the attack on the estate? A disgraceful incident. Simply disgraceful. I cannot believe these scoundrels would dare to come so close and to drag the nobility into this as well. If they penetrated the estate, that means they had help from some worthless servant or other. Security is currently questioning the survivors, but the culprit have not been found yet. He smiles unpleasantly. What record of our conversation? Your lordship, I painstakingly record every conversation with high-ranking personages, and afterward I fill out 7 accompanying forms personally. He rolls up his completed scroll in a practiced gesture, stows it away, and pulls out a new one. Your words and judgments are in good hands. Attilius's mechanical fingers fly over the scroll as he fills in another line. And of course, what great fortune it is to see, for the very first time in all my years of service, an emissary of the Navis Nobilite here on Janus. I humbly welcome the esteemed Cassia Tusifia Evriala, Lady Navigator of House Orselio. Everything from her condescending gaze and confident bearing to her calm but commanding voice marks Cassia as the heiress of a great bloodline. Awestruck, the secretary writes down each letter of her name with particular fastidiousness. Laudable foresight. Thank you. Moments such as the appearance of a rogue trader must be preserved for posterity. What are your duties here? By the grace of the God Emperor, I oversee the administrative apparatus on this planet and serve as a secretary. I'm also responsible for the logistics related to supplying the planets of the Von Valancius dynasty and the timely payment of tithes to the Imperium's official collectors. He's the tax man. Speaking of the Von Valancius dynasty, when were the last shipments sent? Oh, your lordship, our supply shipments are all in order. All foodstuffs and other items are ready for export and are simply awaiting the arrival of the transport ships. However, given the current circumstances on the planet, Janus could not provide even one tranche more than what is already prepared. I'm certain the situation will be rectified in the near future. When did the collector ships last come to Janus? Oh, your lordship, I must confess that as yet I've not had the pleasure of filling out a sacred tithe protocol form, as the last Imperial ships to come here did so under my predecessor. Come to think of it, that would have been several decades ago. I do hope the logistans responsible for such unforgivable oversight lose their heads over this. Wait, it's been decades since we've delivered food to anybody? As you wish, your lordship. Take my leave. Okay. Feel like the shipments would have gone bad by now.
One step at a time, amidst the madness.
Did you see the mutant white? Whoa, what's happening? Is that Muck and Cassia? Look, we can get down to the water this way. Could we perhaps take a brief detour for a closer look?
In this tapestry of a world, I am the rogue thread.
Forgive me for so boldly stealing you away from the others. It's just, I simply wish to spend a brief moment admiring the breathtaking nature of this place. Reflected in Cassia's eyes, the bright blue sky looks as though it is engulfed in a blazing sunset. Within the station's walls, I could never hope to see anything like this. A sky or a sea or green leaves, I only knew them from meager memories of my childhood. Or perhaps my mind simply made those up. I came here for waffles! I Avalar. Where were we? Even in my books, my heart and mind's blissful escape could do little to help me. Even when a scribe grows so used to what surrounds them each and every day, they begin to take it for granted. They never think to write just a few lines about it. But for me, to marvel at the grand canopy of the sky again is a true blessing. Pick a nearby flower and give it to her. Here is your chance to take a small piece of this place with you. My guy has such a romantic voice. Oh god, she's allergic. She gingerly accepts the flower from your hands. Its petals are like velvet. The fragrance, sweet and spicy. It's like chicken, a fascinating specimen of the local plant life, and I do not remember seeing it in the great concordance of flora and verdure with the Coronis expanse recorded by Magos biologist Clarissa She stops herself sheepishly. Although I suppose I simply ought to thank you for it. This flower is beautiful indeed. In that case, I imagine you have never set foot in sea waters before. Would you like to try? Step into the sea? Me? She glances uncertainly at the playful foam licking the sandy shore. Offer her your hand. There is nothing to fear. We shall just let our feet soak a little. Intrigued, she cocks her head to one side. Mischievous dashes of yellow and lilac are fluttering in the wind, like bands all around you. I've never seen you exude such colors before. How unexpected. She gives a quick nod and warily stretches out her long, narrow hand. It is cold to the touch. We're not gonna take our shoes off? Wow, now our boots are full of water. Awesome. The other 4 party members are up there just like, awkward. The sea, it's so wet. Wow. It's a good thing this lady's got 3 eyes, because she is perceptive. And cold, and the tiny pebbles tickle my feet. Cassia's reserved seriousness gives way to genuine wonder. I never thought it would be so agreeable, and a little startling. Thank you for encouraging me. She catches herself, her expression changing in a flash. She gently frees her hand and awkwardly looks away. Move closer to Cassia and silently take in the view. Cassia relishes every breath of fresh air, her eyes half closed, listening to the sounds of birds hidden from view by the treetops. When the tips of your fingers touch lightly, she starts, but does not remove her hand. Several minutes pass in timid silence like mere moments, and eventually she pulls away. This place eases the soul, wouldn't you agree? It's time we were on our way. Already, yes, of course. Cassia gives the exuberant expanse of the sea a parting glance and whispers quietly, I think I know what my next painting will be. His Lordship Muck von Luck von Valancius, rogue trader by the grace of the God Emperor and the sacred lords of Terra. What? Rogue trader, bearer of the warrant of trade, stellar inheritor, and guardian of humanity comes. Yes, it's me. Anything else? Good talk.
We should deal with this.
Chains or ropes with shackles on either end can be seen in the water. Something white is also visible through the glimmer. What? A fragment of bone with marks made by sharp teeth. Oh, they like chained a prisoner in the water and it got ate by sharks or something? It's been decades since Janus paid its taxes. That's why you were sent here, to collect taxes. I'm the tax man.
Patience? My nerves are frayed.
The ivy covering the archway gives off a delicate, heady fragrance, although you do not see any flowers. An otherworldly silence reigns under the arches of the gazebo. Perhaps a sound barrier generator is mounted in the dome. Iliet.
Iliet Lenevis greets you, Elantark.
The bizarre creature before you only vaguely resembles a typical human. An elongated body, slender limbs, pointed features, every aspect of its appearance is unnatural and alien. The creature turns its head to you.
Regrettable news. This creature is not a mutant as the locals assumed, but a representative of the Eldari, one of the myriad enemies of humanity. You should not trust this creature. Do not communicate with it any longer than necessary.
Heinrichs tosses out some words in a strange language. There's a hint of musicality to it, but the interrogator's rendering is harsh and off-putting. After meeting the gaze of the unknown being, Heinrichs turns to you.
There is no need to mutilate my language, Monkey.
Monkey?
I speak yours well enough to converse with Elantark without a translator. And since you have discerned my path, I will be direct in my speech.
She calls him a monkey?
My soul is nothing kin to yours. Your kind call us Xenos, as if we are all as one. I came here to protect the Lilithon by assisting the governor against her enemies. Will you hear me, or be blinded to sense by your precepts?
I will speak to you, Iliet Lenevis, but keep your hands where I can see them.
Reckless.
Must I remind you, Master Van Calox, that the warrant endows rogue traders with the sacred right to have dealings with Xenos when necessary? That exceptional memory of yours seems to have let you down.
I have banished the shadow of doubt from your thoughts regarding my nature. Now you will answer my question. Why have you sought me out?
Why are you helping the governor?
This world is in distress. I wish to protect it from unnecessary suffering.
So you're the governor's mysterious helper?
I am Elantark. My hand parried the death promised to the ruler of these people. and I aided you in battle against the Lost Ones.
What do you know about the rank and file rebels?
Only that they threaten the established order. There is much risk to this world should the ruler die.
Awareness test succeeded. Her face is unreadable, but you detect a strange tension in her voice as though she is choosing her words carefully. Do you know who is behind the uprisings on this planet?
There is a malevolence here that drives your kin down the path of violence.
Why do you call me Alantak?
Because that is what you are. Elantark means stranger from the darkness amidst the stars. You descended on flame-winged machines in a dark time when the air of the planet is soaked in blood and pain. Will you be the one to bring peace to the Lilithon?
How did you come to be on Janus?
The world you call Janus was once created by the will of my kin. I have far more right to be on the Lilithon than any of you.
Look at this skull. It was given to the governor's secretary by one of the governor's retinue. It looks like you and the deceased share a resemblance.
You are right, Elantark. Oh, Muren, such vileness. This is the price of your fate, the price of your path. Take that away, please.
Your answers are not particularly helpful.
But you are not asking for help, Elantark. You are merely asking questions, the answers to which are either unimportant or wreathed in shadow. Explore this place. Speak to those who know. A simple task for you, and an insurmountable challenge for me, since my very appearance provokes fear and suspicion. When you learn anything, tell me. Perhaps then my answers will be helpful to your search.
If you want, you can join me. None of the locals will dare to look askance at you in the rogue trader's presence.
So be it. I will go with you.
She's silent for several seconds, her gaze fixed on something beyond you, slowly drawing out her words.
With all due respect, are you sure this is the right decision? We know
Nope.
nothing about this Xenos, or why she has wormed her way into the governor's confidence. As far as I can tell, she isn't especially keen to help us, and yet, for some obviously dark reason, she has decided to take part in our investigation.
My judgments and choices are for me alone, monkey. If uniting with your master will bring peace to the Lilithon, then it is the true path. Do not get in my way if you value your next breath.
You have not yet spent enough time among humans if you think threats will dispose me more favorably toward you. The decision is yours, rogue trader. But let me be clear. I will terminate your pet Xenos at the first sign of her non-compliance.
I am ready, Elantark. Let us go forth.
Yearlayat's abilities. She's a Xenos, one of the Assyriani. She's a ranger who follows the path of the outcast, and her skills in ranged combat are without equal. She does not use human weapons and can wear either Eldari armor or, if she learns the required feature, Drukhari armor. Yearlayat's unique ability instantly ends her turn, but at the start of her next turn, she'll make an attack that always hits. Okay. Kick Heinrichs out of the group for whining. Operative. My God, I got 3 operatives? Alright, so what does she have? In my sights. Her attack against the target at the start of the next turn cannot miss. Precise attack. For the next attack against a target affected by an exploit, that target's cover efficiency will be reduced. This attack has a hit chance. 2 operatives now. Well, I had 3. The other one I killed. Assassin, bounty hunter, or grand strategist.